Unit 1, A Raisin in the Sun Unit Test, Grade 7, Navigator, School Year 21-22. This assessment will show what you know and what you have learned from A Raisin in the Sun. This assessment has 3 parts. Part 1, core knowledge of the novel. Part 2 will be skipped. Part 3, application and a new text. Here are some tips to help you do your best. Be sure to read all the directions carefully. Read and annotate all text provided. Read each question carefully. Read all answers before you make your choice. If you see a quotation or section in the text reference, go back and skim that part of the text before you choose your answer. Part 1, core knowledge of the novel. Do your best to answer these questions based on your understanding of the play A Raisin in the Sun. Number 1, what is the American dream? A, the belief that America is a land of freedom and safety. B, the idea that anyone can attain success in America with hard work. C, the hope that every younger generation finds greater success in America. D, the belief that wealth does not truly lead to happiness in America. Number 2, what is the Great Migration? A, the movement of Black Southerners to the North to escape oppression and attain economic and personal opportunities. B, the immigration of Black Southerners to the West to pursue college and careers not readily available in the South. C, the movement of Black city dwellers to suburbs to build wealth and opportunity for their families. D, the immigration of Black people in Chicago to the Harlem neighborhood of New York City to pursue creative passions. Number 3, what is the younger family waiting for at the start of the play? A, Benita's medical school acceptance. B, a check from the late Mr. Younger. C, a loan from a bank for a deposit on a home. D, a promotion for Walter. Number 4, what does the Younger family decide to do at the end of the play? A, take Mr. Linder's money and stay in their apartment. B, refuse Mr. Linder's money but stay in their apartment. C, refuse Mr. Linder's money and move to Claiborne Park. D, take Mr. Linder's money and move to Claiborne Park. Number 5, what is one theme, A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry and Harlem by Langston Hughes share? A, dreams are only worth pursuing if they help your family. B, choosing to chase a dream or ignore a dream can impact your life deeply. C, it's possible to lose sight of a dream, but then remember it later in life. D, dreams are not always achievable, but they are always worthwhile. Number 6, what is the definition of symbolism? You may use your own words. Number 7, in 1 through 3 sentences, explain what Mama's plant symbolizes. There are many possible answers. Part 3, application and a new text. The excerpt below is from the beginning of the play of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. In this scene, we are first meeting the 2 main characters, Lenny and George. Read the passage, then answer the questions that follow. Curtains rise on an empty stage. A sparrow is singing. There is a distant sound of ranch dogs barking aimlessly and one clear quail call. The quail call turns to a warning call, and there is a beat of flock's wings. 2 figures are seen entering, left or right, It makes no difference. In single file with George, the short man coming in ahead of Lenny. Both men are carrying blanket rolls. They approach the water. The small man throws down his blanket roll. The large man follows, then falls down and drinks from the river, snorting as he drinks. George, irritably, Lenny, for God's sake, don't drink so much. He leans over and shakes Lenny. Lenny, you hear me? You're going to be sick like you was last night. Lenny dips his whole head under water, hat and all. As he sits on the bank, his hat drips down the back. Lenny, that's good. You drink some, George. You drink some too. George, kneeling, dipping his finger in the water. I ain't sure if it's good water. Looks kind of scummy to me. Lenny imitates dipping his finger also. Look at them wrinkles in the water, George. Look what I done. George, drinking from his cup palm. Tastes all right. Don't seem to be running too much through. Lenny, you oughtn't be drinking water when it ain't running. Hopelessly. You drink water out of a gutter if you is thirsty. Throws a scoop of water into his face, rubs it around with his hand, pushes himself back and embraces his knees. Lenny, after watching him, imitates him in every detail. George, beginning tiredly and growing angry as he speaks. God damn it. We could just as well have rode clear to the ranch. That bus driver didn't know what he was talking about. Just a little stretch down the highway, he says. Just a little stretch. Damn near 4 miles. I bet he didn't want to stop at the ranch gate. I bet he's too damn lazy to pull up. Wonder he ain't too lazy to stop at Soledad at all. Mumbling. Just a little stretch down the road. Lenny, timidly. George? George. Yeah, what do you want? Lenny. Where are we going, George? George jerks down his hat furiously. So you forgot that already, did you? So I gotta tell you again. Geez, you're crazy. Lenny, softly. I forgot. I tried not to forget. Honest to God, I did. George. Okay. I'll tell you again. With sarcasm. I ain't got nothing to do. Might as well just spend all my time telling you things. You forget them and I tell you again. Lenny, continuing on from his last speech. I tried and tried, but it didn't do no good. I remember about the rabbits, George. George, the hell with the rabbits. You can't remember nothing but them rabbits. You remember sitting in that gutter on Howard Street and watching that blackboard? Lenny, delightedly. Oh, sure, I remember. I remember that, but what'd we do then? I remember some girls come by, and you says, George, the hell with what I says. You remember about us going to Murray and Reddy's and they give us work cards and bus tickets? Lenny, confidently. Oh, sure, George, I remember that now. He puts his hand into the side coat pocket. His confidence vanishes very gently. George? George? Huh? Lenny, staring at the ground in despair. I ain't got mine. I must have lost it. George, you never done had none. I got both of 'em here. Think I'd let you carry around your own work card? Lenny, with tremendous relief. I thought I put it in my side pocket. He puts his hands in his pockets again. George, looking sharply at him. As he looks, Lenny brings out his hands out of his pocket. What'd you take out of that pocket? Lenny, cleverly. Ain't a thing in my pocket. George, I know there ain't. You got it in your hand now. What you got in your hand? Lenny, I ain't got nothing, George, honest. George, come on, give it here. Lenny holds his hand closed away from George. It's only a mouse. George, a mouse? A live mouse? Lenny, no, just a dead mouse. Worriedly, I didn't kill it. Honest, I found it. I found it dead. George, give it here. Lenny, let me have it, George. George, sternly. Give it here. Lenny reluctantly gives him his mouse. What do you want of a dead mouse anyway? Lenny, in a propositional tone. I was petting it with my thumb while we were walking. George, well, you ain't petting no mice while you walk with me. Now let's see if you can remember where we're going. George throws it across the water into the brush. Lenny looks startled, then in embarrassment hides his face against his knees. I forgot again. George, Jesus Christ, resigningly. Well, look, we are going to work on a ranch like the one we come from up north. Lenny, up north? George, in Weed. Lenny, oh, sure, I remember, in Weed. George, still with exaggerated patience. That ranch we're going to is right down there about a quarter mile. We're going to go in and see the boss. Lenny repeats as a lesson, and see the boss. George, and look now, I'll give him the work tickets, but you ain't gonna say a word. You're just gonna stand there and not say nothing. Lenny, not say nothing. George, if he finds out what a crazy bastard you are, we won't get no job. But if he sees you work before he hears you talk, we're set. You got that? Lenny, sure, George. Sure, I got that. George, okay. Now, where are we going to go when we see the boss? What are you going to do? Lenny, concentrating. I ain't going to say nothing. Just going to stand there. George, greatly relieved. Good boy. That's swell. Now, say that over 2 or 3 times so you're sure you won't forget it. Lenny drones softly under his breath. I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to say nothing. Trails off into a whisper. George, and you ain't going to do no bad things like you done in Weed, neither. Lenny, puzzled. Like what I done in Weed? George, so you forgot that too, did you? Lenny triumphantly. They run us out of Weed. George, disgusted. Run us out, hell, we run. They was looking for us, but they didn't catch us. Lenny, happily. I didn't forget that, you bet. George lies back on sand, crosses hands under his head. Again, Lenny imitates him. Number 11, open response. Answer the question below to the best of your ability. How do Steinbeck's stage directions and or diction develop the relationship between Lenny and George? Note, stage directions are in parentheses.